Another heat wave is sweeping across Connecticut. I'm Glenn Kittle. What state leaders want you to know to beat the heat? Coming up on Fox 61.
And an 18-year-old man is shot by police in Manchester. Everything we know about the investigation coming up in a live report.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. We hope yours is off to a great start so far. Thanks for starting it off with us, America Areas.
And I'm Bridget Biorlo. We are cranking up the heat once again today. Feels okay right now, but don't get used to it. Let's send it outside to Rachel Piscatelli. Good morning, Rachel.
Now, let's go outside to the New England Patio and Hearth Outdoor Studio.
It is definitely not a bad start to our morning. We have mostly sunny skies out here, and it is quite comfortable and mild. Temperatures are in the upper 60s to right around 70 degrees. But despite those numbers, the humidity hasn't kicked in just yet. Over time today, though, that humidity will build in, turning hot and very humid this afternoon. Up around 100 to 105 degrees for our feels-like temperatures are expected. Taking a look at our current numbers outside this morning, we're sitting around 64 degrees in Willimantic, near 70 degrees in Hartford, 72 in New Haven, and around 65 in the Torrington area. So planning your day today, there is a heat advisory in place for the state for the high heat and humidity. Those feels like temperatures up around 95 to 105. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. It's still very muggy this evening with limited relief. It's going to feel a lot different by tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we're starting off in the mid 70s, and then eventually we'll get those numbers back up into the mid to upper 90s in the afternoon. Feels like temperatures back up to the triple digits. Now, it's not as humid, but still fairly hot for our Thursday. So the back half of our work week featuring less humid conditions, a mix of sun and clouds. Will remain dry though in the afternoon as temperatures move to around 90 degrees. There is a rain chance on the way for this upcoming weekend though. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a bit. As we check in with the roads this morning at 6:02, we are following road work that is clearing here in the 6 o'clock hour. We'll take a live look outside over in Fairfield on 95. Delays starting to build in the area, and we'll take a look at those drive times here, which Bridgeport into Fairfield certainly reflected with the volume. We're backed up at around 17 minutes. Trumbull into Westport becoming heavy at about 18. Your travel speeds on the Merritt down to 49 miles per hour. Over to you.
Rachel, thanks so much. 6:02 right now, and another round of serious heat is sweeping across our state. Once again, state leaders have activated the hot weather protocol. Fox 61's Glenn Kittle is joining us live in Hartford with more on that hot weather protocol and also tips on how to stay cool in these dangerous temperatures. We said it before, Glenn. We're going to say it again. It's just that important.
Yeah, good morning, Erica. We're going to remind you until it gets completely annoying at this point, but they're good reminders for folks as these temperatures creep into the mid-90s today for much of our state here, and we have much of those same reminders for you. Make sure you stay hydrated, stay cool, and stay safe out there. Make sure you check on some folks. We're going to get more into that, but the hot weather protocol for the state goes into effect today at 11 a.m. You probably are outside right now, or maybe you took a step outside earlier today. It is pretty nice out at this moment, but just in a few hours from now, when this sun creeps up even further and we get the heat going, you're going to want to get inside for even a little bit and get some rest and some reprieve from this heat that we're going to be experiencing today. Some tips from the state as this hot weather protocol is in effect. They're telling folks to try to rest often in shady areas to cool your body off, turn on a fan, avoid direct sunlight, wear lightweight, light-colored clothing, take cool showers or baths, and check on those who are most at risk several times a day. We're talking about people with illnesses or maybe elderly folks who may not be able to take care of themselves. Make sure you check on your neighbors that could be disabled or possibly at risk here for this heat wave that we have coming through our state here. And also, just a reminder for pet owners as well as people that have kids, make sure you check the back seats of your car before you're getting out of there. Thankfully, Connecticut hasn't had a hot car case with a child in the back of it in quite some time now, but definitely a good reminder for folks as we get into this hot weather that you want to check your back seat. If you haven't had that reminder in your car turned on, you can go to your dashboard, make sure you turn that setting on just to give you that quick reminder. The same thing goes for pets as well. Make sure you get them out of the back seat, as well as if you're taking them on walks. If you're going to do that, make sure you're doing it in a shady area or a grassy area, so that way their paws are not directly on the asphalt. Maybe you have some booties for them, I'm not sure. I have a cat, so she stays inside. But Nevertheless, definitely going to be a hot one out there today. Make sure you stay safe. We do have information on our website for where folks can check out some of the cooling centers that are going to be available in cities and towns across the state. You can call 211 and get that information for the closest one to you, but you can also go online and find that information as well. We're going to have all of that on our website at fox61.com. We're also going to have a full list of all of those tips that I just gave out for you on our website. So if you want to send those to a friend, send those to a family member, just as a quick reminder of what people can do to stay cool out there. It's always great to send those around and make sure that people are aware. Live in Hartford, Glenn Kittle, Fox 61.
And definitely check on your friends and neighbors, definitely your senior neighbors for sure. Glenn, thank you. 6:05 now, an 18-year-old Manchester man was shot by police on Sunday after officers say a domestic disturbance call quickly escalated. It happened in the overnight hours of Sunday evening, with the investigation extending well into Monday morning. We are checking in with Fox 61's Aaron Coogan this morning. Aaron, bring us up to speed on the very latest. A lot of neighbors saw this happen.
Yeah, well, we do know that 18-year-old was shot. We don't know how many times he was shot or the extent of his injuries. We do know it all unfolded near the intersection of Parker Street and Charis Road here in Manchester. Police alleging that man was armed with a knife when tensions escalated. Now take a look. This is video from that scene early Monday morning. As you mentioned, this was a situation that extended through the night. Initial calls of a domestic disturbance at a home on Parker Street coming in just before 11 p.m. Sunday. Neighbors describing to me the verbal arguments they heard intensify as police tried to make contact with the individuals inside that home. Now, officers say they were warned that an 18-year-old suspect could be armed with a knife inside. Instead, they say first responders were confronted with that man in the street. That's when one officer reported to have fired an undisclosed amount of gunshots at that 18-year-old. Folks in the area describing those terrifying few moments.
We heard all the police sirens.
We heard all the police sirens, and then we saw police going by, and within minutes we heard gunshots. And so it scared us, so we headed right for the house.
I heard a lot of yelling and screaming early on, and I heard some fireworks after that. And then cops showed up, and I looked out my window, and there was probably like 6 or 7, and then more came, and at some point it was probably like 12, 13, 14.
Now, first aid was administered to that man on site before he was rushed to a nearby trauma center. No word as of this morning on an updated condition, but of course, as we learn more, we're going to have it for you on air and online at fox61.com. Guys?
All right, Aaron, thanks so much for the update there. And at 6:07, in a separate police shooting in Manchester last October, the Office of the Inspector General has ruled that an officer was justified in shooting and wounding a man. Police say officers pulled over Samuel Lee on I-84 in October on the 25th for a mismatched license plate. Lee then sped away, and cruiser video here shows him firing 6 shots at Officer Kyle Buse during that chase. Buse returned fire, hitting Lee in the hip before taking him into custody. The report found that Buse reasonably feared for his life and that he was justified in firing back.
2 teens are now charged with murder in connection with last week's deadly shooting outside a Waterbury nightclub. The suspects appeared in New Britain Juvenile Court yesterday, where cameras are not allowed inside. Police say 22-year-old Trayvon Dunbar and 18-year-old Zanaya Dawkins were shot and killed near LA 42 nightclub. Investigators are expected to provide an update on the case sometime this afternoon at around 2 p.m.
As families continue to recover from a devastating fire that displaced at least 15 people in Waterbury last week, one victim is pleading for help. Anaya Christopher says that her cat, 8-year-old Shadow, is alive and trapped in the rubble. Despite ongoing efforts to rescue the cat, she says that firefighters have been unsuccessful. Waterbury Fire Chief Javier Lopez says that they're working along with animal control, and they have placed traps and food to help rescue Shadow. However, the risks of being around the condemned building are serious.
Firefighters went up there to try to reach the cat. That building is condemned and unauthorized to enter for anybody else. We actually had one firefighter fall through the floor, and he was lucky that the way he fell, he wedged his leg in between floors, so that kind of held him up a little bit.
Chief Lopez says they will come back out as soon as they spot Shadow just in the right position to rescue him.
6:09 now, and former New Britain Mayor Aaron Stewart has returned more than $183,000 in unused public campaign funds after suspending her campaign for governor. Stewart received more than $828,000 through Connecticut Public Financing Program. She suspended her campaign just before the Republican state convention. The repayment was included in her campaign's final finance report. Stewart dropped out of the governor's race after a city-ordered investigation raised questions about her use of a city-issued credit card during her time as mayor. The Hartford City Council has appointed Adam Cloud to once again serve as city treasurer. The council approved the appointment during last night's meeting to fill a vacancy in the elected office. Cloud previously served as Hartford's treasurer and will complete the remainder of the current term. It comes as the city's former treasurer, Carmen Sierra, who you see right here, spoke out last week after she says she was escorted out of her old office by police officers. Sierra and her attorney held a news conference last week, arguing she had a legitimate reason to return to the office to help with the transition process. But the mayor's office saw it a different way, saying it was inappropriate for a former elected official to access secure city facilities without notice after leaving the position. Sierra's retirement came as the treasurer's office and the city's more than $1 billion pension fund are undergoing an audit. Sierra says her decision to step down was unrelated to that review.
Lindsey Graham's sister has been named to temporarily replace him in the Senate. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster announced that Darlene Graham Norton will serve the remaining months of her brother's term, which ends in January. Norton is expected to be sworn in tomorrow. She's going to become the first woman to represent South Carolina in the U.S. Senate. Now, she's never held political office before. Right now, she serves as commissioner of the South Carolina Commission for the Blind. A special primary is expected next month. The general election scheduled for November.
And still ahead in the Fox 61 morning news at 6 o'clock, more Americans are putting groceries on credit cards. High rising food costs are pushing families further into debt.